Hey everyone, thanks for joining me again today. I noticed before I start where I'm going, I'm always scratching my head, my face, and think, I'm so sorry. Whoever's got OCD issues like I do, pardon my itchiness, restlessness. Anyhow, so there is a scripture that is, for lack of a better way of saying it, haunting me. My son got injured in a catastrophic accident almost 10 years ago. Prior to the accident, almost daily, I would see it online. It would come through WhatsApp. It would be preached about at church, and this scripture was saying, be strong, be courageous. Have I not told you to be strong? 1 Joshua 9 or 8. The way I received it initially, right from the beginning, I was just disturbed. I was like, what? Why should I be strong? Years later, I realized that it was a case of I had gone through so much at that point. I'd lost a dear friend. He was a new friend, and then shortly after I'd known him, then I discovered that he has I don't know what they call it when cancer comes back, and it came back full force, and I was standing with all the other friends and believers for his healing, and then he died. And then even at his funeral, I kept thinking, maybe he'll still come back, maybe he'll still come back. I still had that hope. And then my friend was sick, and she also got suddenly sick. And I was so panicked. I was just like, I can't do this, I can't do this. And so now you have this scripture that says, be strong, be of good courage. And it did not come at me with a sense of encouragement. It just was like, there is something horrible around the corner. And I prayed and I asked God, please, God, just don't let this happen. So even now, the scripture has, I could say, resurrected. I am left almost breathless. I just feel weak, and I'm just like, God, So I'm doing this video to encourage all of us, because I was after my son's accident, I had some time with a cousin of mine. She was so encouraging. She listened to all my boo-hoos and everything, And I told her about the scripture, and her response was like, Neil, amongst all this that happens, you should be so grateful that you got some kind of warning ahead. And not only that, and she was saying, not even the warning, but that God would be so invested in you, in your well-being, that he just chases you down with a scripture, Some of us don't ever experience that. And I didn't know what to say. I was just tired, I was just tired. I didn't know how to respond. And funny enough, I just received her love, I just received her comfort and her being there for me. She is an incredibly practical person, and we grew up together as cousins, being able to visit each other quickly, as in, because they live very close by, so it was not a long trip to go visiting. And she's very gracious, she's very, and there's a strength and a grace to her. And when she said that, there was no sense of condemnation from her. There was just a I guess another switching on of a light, Cornel, you're not seeing this. Maybe you need to see this. So now the scripture is back, and I'm just like, "Oh, God, I can't do this again, God, I'm just stop the world and let me climb off, okay? Like seriously. And then so I've got another friend. We call each other in sync sisters because 10 to 1, what she's going through. But she's much softer than I am. I feel like I'm battle hardened. I've got hard areas. And so I think either she shared the scripture first or I shared it first, whichever way. But my response again was like, I don't want this thing. I don't want this thing. Oh, no, God, I don't want this thing. And so she came back with a very gentle response and said, you know what, Neo, that is such a blessing from God. See it as encouragement, not as a what I would call it, a portent. How do I describe portent? Like a coming of something horrible, doom, terribleness, awfulness, catastrophe, So she said this, and I thought, okay, no, I won't do that. So basically what I'm saying is that when we embrace the fact that the Lord loves us, we embrace that hope, encouragement, comfort, the feel goods of scripture. A lot of us have got this propensity of when we look at scripture, we like to, myself included, we look for the worst case scenario. Where is this going to nail me? How is this going to do me harm? I'm going to miss it. I don't understand it, or how am I going to get it to work for me? We have this sense of, and it's a sense of inferiority. And if we're in God's image, we have no reason to be inferior. And if we are inferior, feeling inferior, because we are not inferior, we feel inferior, we need to make sure that we take that and give it to God. There's no use in hiding our feelings. There's no use in hiding our struggles. There's no use in I guess what we can call adulting, because we are told you're an adult, you should be able to do this and do that and do this and the other and the next thing. And when I look at two of the scriptures in the Bible, come to me, all of you who are weary and heavy laden, and roll all your cares to him because he cares for you. Those negate the adulting trend. I'm not talking about irresponsibility. I'm talking about taking on the world's weight. I'm talking about behaving like Atlas. We are made to believe there is some kind of trophy in carrying the burden of the world. Women across the globe, or rather, if got it correct, Black women are made to feel like the struggles we go through and all of that, our crown is all the things we've gone through and how strong we've become. I'm sick of it. I don't know. Please. There's a saying in South Africa, in the Zulu Xhosa term, that says, Watinta umfazi, utinta imboto. And that is basically saying that if you touch a woman, you're touching the rock, and basically saying that don't abuse women, or she is the pillar, she is the strength. And my response is not something I can say on this video to that. But basically, I reject that because this thing of being the strength, one, it's sheer arrogance because God is our strength. Number two, it's putting yourself in a place for manipulation because then people will want to lean all over you and take no responsibility for their own lives and actions. And three, it's a trap. I love freedom. And yes, I'm going to say it. As a black woman, post-apartheid, dear God, the freedom of being able to go wherever I want is incalculable. I remember as a child, my aunt took us we went to town in Bloemfontein, and that is like the enclave of apartheid. Still has huge measures of that because, as I said, it was the enclave. And I remember us stepping up to a window in a wall, and almost like a spaza shop, if you're South African, you know what I'm talking about. And right next to this window was a door, a double door. And people were walking through this door. And my aunt walked up to this window and then she ordered food and we stood outside. And I was like, what the heck? So I was like, oh, maybe Rakhadi didn't see the door. So I'm like, Rakhadi, the door. I was about 8 years old. And she just, patted me on the head. No, Nana. Let's just wait. I'm like, no, Rakhadi, the door. And she's like, no, Nana. I mean, the fact that my aunt she's an Amazon to me. She is this very strong, very vibrant, very powerful woman having to cut out with that kind of crap. No, thank you. So this strong woman business, no, not for me. Which brings me back then to my problem with be strong and courageous. Strong and courageous was specifically spoken to Joshua as he's about to lead the Israelites immediately after Moses' death. He needed to be strong. He needed to be courageous. We take that scripture, which is what I'm telling you what it's unfolding even as we speak for me with this scripture, because for me the scriptures are serious, not serious in terms of dull and boring, but in terms of the fact that fish breathe underwater and humans don't, that kind of serious, that it's a no-brainer, and that's how it is, and so I take that scripture and I take it then under the context of the grace I have been saved into and saved by. And I'm like, my strength and my courage is not up to me in terms of having to pump the iron. My strength and my courage is similar, is in the context, I would say, of Hebrews, where the writer says something about the people who did not receive the rest that God gave because they wouldn't believe, So he says, encourages that scripture then encourages to rather fight to stay at rest. So even as we speak, I am saying I receive now God's strength and his courage for today. Tomorrow will sort itself out. And today's here for me to embrace, to enjoy, to do my work, to serve my boss, to do good by those that I am employed to do good by, to do the best, to do as I would unto God. That's where I am. So I wanted to share that. Also still along the lines of, this is a form of journaling and an invitation to what it looks like for the ordinary person living this saved life. And I am no scholar. I've said it several times. I'm no theologian. I just read the Bible. I just love Jesus. I don't know why he loves me. And even the love that I have for Jesus is often so conflicted, but it's there, you know, and I can't describe it. All I know is that it's there. And the closest I can describe it is the love I have for my child. And that boyki, you know, he's driven me nuts over the years and what have you, but overarching everything, I just love that boy to bits. The way that I love my nephew and my nieces and my aunts and my uncles and, you know, and. So, yeah. So thank you for taking the time to listen to, I don't know what I call this, but my day, I guess. Yeah, I guess. To listen to my day. It's not over the day, but I thought I should share this. Thank you so much. Okay. Have you all a good day.